The leadership of the Republican Party have no balls. Okay, they have no testicular fortitude. I'm going to mention 7 names, and then I'm going to tell you what they don't have in common with about 3 or 4 other names. The names I want to mention are Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, Jason Chaffetz, Chris Christie, and Mike Pence. They apparently have nothing in common other than belonging to the same party with Jeb Bush, his father, and the governor of Ohio. And I'm drawing a slight blank. Sorry, that was, I think it's John Kasich. The last 3, the Bushes, Kasich, and I forgot to mention Rand Paul, they have stuck to their guns when they said that they would not be able to support Donald Trump. They actually meant it. The people that I mentioned initially, Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, Jason Chaffetz, Chris Christie, and Mike Pence, have all stated that they are in support of Donald Trump. Obviously, Mike Pence is his running mate, so it would be a little difficult for him not to be in support of Donald Trump. But I'm going to play a clip from the PM Joy Show, and it's going to make mention particularly of Ryan, McConnell, Rubio, Chaffetz, somewhat Cruz. They're not going to mention Christie or Pence.
Or endorsing Trump waited until the final hour, like Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who gave a strong endorsement on Wednesday, and House Speaker Paul Ryan, who waited until today to say that he would campaign for Trump if he happened to find himself in Wisconsin. Florida Senator Marco Rubio, who once called Trump a, quote, con artist, has already voted early for Trump, but said this week that he has no intention of standing alongside his nominee on the campaign trail, even after telling the media he'd be honored to do whatever he could to make Trump president. Such courage and conviction by all. And joining me now, Michelle Bernard of the Bernard Center for Women, Politics, and Public Policy, Corinne Jean-Pierre of MoveOn.org, Katie Packer, Deputy Campaign Manager for the Romney 2012 campaign, and back with me are Maria Teresa Kumar and Dana Milbank. Thank you all for being here. Michelle, I'm going to come to you on this first, because you do have this weird sort of dichotomy, right, between Republicans like Paul Ryan, like Mitch McConnell, who all say, we want Donald Trump to be president, full stop, we voted for him, we want to be president, but they won't go near him. What is that about?
They won't go near him, they don't mention his name, and, in certain places they all refer to Mike Pence. It just depends on which one of the people we're talking about. I think all of them are already, I hate to say, looking forward to 2020, who's going to run for president, maybe a little bit of a savior complex. So, for example, if Donald Trump is elected president, one or the other will be the person to bring sanity to the Republican Party and be the voice of reason within the Republican Party. And then there are people, I honestly believe, who are so worried about the down ballot and the hundreds of thousands of people that we know who support Donald Trump, that they want to make sure that their people get back in, and maybe the only way to do that is to get Donald Trump supporters to vote for them.
That's a really good point. And Katie, all of the political incentives here point towards supporting Donald Trump, right? Because he's got the nomination. Presumably, he's got very fired up voters who are not necessarily going to forget in 2018 if somebody didn't stand with him. So the incentives are to be with him. How does the party then extricate itself from Trumpism and Donald Trump if everybody must be with him in this election?
Well, it's going to be a complicated thing post-election, and I have been saying for some time that these leaders in our party post-election are going to have to make some pretty strong statements and really almost make like a 180 turn and acknowledge that this was a big mistake by the Republican Party, nominating the one guy who couldn't beat Hillary Clinton this November, and in the process dragging our party through the worst kind of mud that we've experienced in my lifetime. And so there's going to have to be a real mea culpa post-election where these guys say, look, our party screwed up and we're going to make some changes in order to turn things around. I don't see any other way around it.
But Karine, let's keep it real. Democrats are not going to allow Republicans to do that. They're going to tattoo Donald Trump on every single Republican who voted for him, right?
As they should. Look, I feel as if the guys that we just mentioned here haven't denounced Trump at all, right? And I don't know how they sleep with themselves, how they sleep at night, right? And I guess that's between them and their families, but they're showing the lack of political courage, and it's almost as if they want the front row seat of the Titanic going down, right? And it's just phenomenal. I mean, look, Paul Ryan said the actions of Donald Trump are textbook racism. This is what he said, but he hasn't denounced him at all. Yeah. None of them are.
And Rubio remembers tweeting out, "Friends don't let friends vote for con artists."
And you know, he was commander. He was unfit to be a commander in chief. I mean, so these guys are not. They're sticking with him. They may not want to be with him, but they have not denounced him, and they've allowed him to. They allowed Trumpism.
And Dana, I want to just go through a few examples of this. So you have Paul Ryan, he finally said the word Donald. He won't say Trump. He'll say Donald. That's as far as you can get him to go to say his name. But he says as far as campaigning with the guy he wants to be president that he voted for, well, you know, everybody's schedules have been in flux in these closing moments. If our nominee comes, you know, I'll campaign with him. Let's look at Ted Cruz, who fought Trump till the last, supposedly was going to fight him till the last dog dies, but then sort of pitifully phone banked for him. And he's now out on the campaign trail, but he's with Pence, like he doesn't want to be with Trump. Let's go to Jason Chaffetz, a guy who said he could not look his 15-year-old daughter in the eye and tell her that he was with Trump. But now he's saying, I will not defend or endorse Donald Trump, but I'm voting for him. HRC is that bad. HRC is bad for the USA. Is it possible to have a vote not be an endorsement?
Well, the question is, does Jason Chaffetz still have a 15-year-old daughter? Where did she go? What happened here? I think what's going to happen on November 9th is the Capitol physician is going to need to call in a whole squadron of orthopedists to help these elected Republicans out with the injuries they've sustained from all of these contortions that they have put themselves through. And you saw in the aftermath of the Access Hollywood tapes, you had all these guys like Chaffetz, like Ryan, others, disavowing Trump, walking away from him on grounds of morality and on principle. Now you see a lot of these guys coming back to him. Well, it's not that the morality and principle issue has changed. They say, oh, well, maybe he's going to win. So it's sort of craven in saying, well, I really detest the guy. He's an awful role model, but he might win, so therefore I can't alienate him completely. I don't want to alienate his followers for my future. So these are not exactly profiles in courage, and there is going to be a reckoning after this.
And Marie Teresa, that does not bode well for these guys also then telling voters that they would stand up to President Trump, because they can't even stand up to him when he's a candidate. I have to really quickly read for you some of Mark Cuban's trolling of Jason Chaffetz, because he switched from trolling Donald Trump to chasing Jason Chaffetz, who for some reason has his name Jason in the house, or the thing he thinks sounds cool. It says, why are you calling for an investigation into Trump's financial connections of Russia? Isn't that part of your job? Hey, Jason in the house, when will you investigate the FBI leaks? That's part of your job, right? Accountability in government. Hey, Jason in the house, you can investigate Rudy Giuliani for knowing about the Comey letter. I mean, the trolling has already begun. Won't these guys simply be humiliated, hounded, and mocked for having done what Jason Chaffetz did?
But Joy, it's actually bigger than that. Trump has effectively expanded the electoral base for the Democratic Party. That usually takes years to do. He's basically done it within 18 months of a cycle. I've already started sharing with you what was happening in Florida alone, in Orlando, where 29% of folks are first-time Latino voters. That is almost impossible by any standard. So the Republican Party, one of the best ways for them to heal out of this is to say, okay, what is the agenda that can get us basically back on track? And I'm going to share with you, immigration reform is going to be top of it, because not only do Latinos care about it, but African immigrants care about it, and absolutely Asian Americans care about it, and Muslim Americans care about it.
Yeah, and that brings me to my favorite troll of the day, Marco Rubio, probably the biggest profile in a lack of courage when it comes to Trump. He said he shouldn't be trusted with the button. And now as to whether he will campaign president. Remember, he said he would be honored to do anything it takes to make Trump president. This is Marco Rubio on Wednesday. At this point, we're focused on our race. We have to be. It's no disrespect toward anyone. We really have to focus on our Senate race. We have a tough fight. We're just not doing presidential events.
Well, you know, Donald Trump beat him in the primary in Florida. Totally humiliated him. Marco Rubio said horrible things about Donald Trump, from, you know, that he wet his pants to making comments about his small hand. So it's really interesting to watch this flip-flop. But I think also he is worried about the Florida race, particularly with the Latino vote. And if he loses, that is losing twice, and there goes his 2020 presidential hopes.
That's what this is all about. All right, we are out of time. Oh my gosh, we're gonna bring you guys all back though.
I got to admit that the Mark Cuban trolling of Jason Chaffetz, that was epic. Epic. And that's just the beginning, because one thing about Cuban, he is like a pit bull. Once he gets his jaws on something, he damn near never lets go. Now, one thing all of those guys have in common, they have no spine. They have no political backbone. Actually, these guys don't even have any moral backbone, because every single one of them, for the most part, have stated that Donald Trump is a pig, okay? His comments are reprehensible regarding women, African Americans, and Mexicans. Yet, they, to a man, have all either endorsed him or voted for him, and a vote for a person is an endorsement. So, as far as I'm concerned, not one of these guys deserves to be in any type of a political office, because when it comes to doing the right thing, they have to examine it the first time, the second time, the third time, to see what's in it for them rather than what's in it for America.